G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I will be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. There will not be a bulge in my curtain. Interesting. Weather's amazing. Ivan's chilling. I'm contemplating taking the back box off. But anyway, that's the randomness that is my brain. I have some space because obviously Pork has gone, the Super Dream Chop, and I have stashed Otto, the CX500 for the moment. And what I've had to do, what I found myself having to do, is go back to old project. Now, a good lump of you that have subscribed within the last 2 years will never have seen this, because that's when I started it. And I got threaders with it for 2 reasons. Sorry, this is Mick, the XJ650. It's not the Yixis, to my knowledge, if I remember correctly. No, it's not. So I had stripped this. This was my first engine build. Pretty much took it completely apart, put it back together. All was good for a while, to the point where I invested in a lovely Delcovic exhaust, full 4-to-1 exhaust for it. Then it just started to really piss me off. Things that piss me off, you can see the mess that is the wiring, but I suppose in order of things that annoyed me, the tank I repaired, lined, and it leaked, and it pissed me off. That was the one. Then it just stopped on me. It just completely froze out on me. I was getting no power through it at all. And bearing in mind how much the wiring has been pretty much abused over time, it was hardly surprising. I've done a bit of pissing around this week, if nothing else, pumping up the tyres, because it was stashed behind my curtain behind there, and pulling it out was a pain. So pumped up the tyres. Front tyre is completely trashed. It's flat again. Back one seems pretty much okay. I can't remember the age of them, but they're old tyres. But I just needed to move it to somewhere I could work on it. Had a look through the wiring and found, you can see my G-clamp. There's a break in the wiring there, which I need to repair, but at the moment I've just completely bodged it and held it together with a G-clamp, but it seems to be working. This is all my evening stuff throughout the week. Now, bearing in mind I don't get back till sort of 7 o'clock-ish. It's not, not a lot of time, but a lot of finicky stuff in a garage in the dark. I did manage to get the power going through it. Excuse me. I've got a new starter solenoid on it, which I thought was the issue. Turned out it wasn't, but it needed one anyway, because the old one was pretty old and ropey. So I do get power through it. Tried to start it, was getting nowhere at all. I think there's a bit of a combination there. My secondary tank is crap. It just drips fuel through really slowly. I think slower than an engine burns it, but that was one side of it. The other side, it sat behind either the curtain there or the curtain in my previous garage for 2 years. Took the carbs off, drained them. The fuel that came out was bright yellow, which was amazing. It could have done that in I suppose could have done that in 2 years, no idea. So strip the carb, give it a quick douche. There was nothing blocked on it. It was just mucky. It was just yellow and nasty. So cleaned it up, put it back on. I do have some life, albeit only through quick start carb cleaner down its throat, or earlier it was anyway. So we'll give it a go now, see if I've got anywhere better. It is vacuum fed, so I have a paintbrush blocking the vacuum barb, I should say. I'll get a choke. If not, I'll just... Still does not sound happy. Oh, going, it sounds okay. So that's brake cleaner. The car cleaner just needs some assistance, I think. Or it did before I dropped my youngest up at a club. So he's alive again at least. Now I do have retained the airbox for this. I might just try and clip it back on now, see if that will help the idle a little bit more, and fundamentally see how we're going, if we're going at all. But there's life in the old dog yet, so it would appear. Maybe, oh Christ, I've started with bikes worse than this before, so maybe we might get somewhere with it. Let me try and get that airbox on, which is a pain in the hoop, but I'll try and get that airbox on and see how we go on. Right, one massive pain in the hoop later. Airbox on, filter in. I haven't got all the screws for the lid. They've disappeared at some point or another. See if I get anywhere. I think I'm probably going to need quick start still, but hey, let's... And this bike continues to be a bit of a curse. Obviously the battery died. This is the next day, one day later. Yeah, charged the battery, tried to start it, got a click out the starter, nothing out the starter motor at all. I slightly confused myself by I've replaced the dodgy connection that I had clamped together before. I wasn't sure if I cocked that up or I'd done something else, so went through the lot, checked the fuses, ultimately took the starter motor out, tested it in the traditional way. This is not the starter motor from there. I can't remember what this was from, but it's not usable because I had to hack it off. I don't think it was from this. Anyway, so positive on the plug and negative, well, anywhere on the frame really. And can you see there? There we go. Always makes me jump. I was getting nothing out of that starter motor at all, so I swore a bit. Spent a lot of the evening looking to see if I could get another one. The simple answer is yes, I can. They're expensive. Took it apart, and basically, if I can remember to find a picture, one of the brushes had come disconnected, so it just wasn't getting enough power to turn. So I've spent the morning, it's now Sunday, amongst other things because it's Mothering Sunday, pissing around with that, and now we'll see if we get anywhere. I have, pushed it to check that it's starting the motor, but not that it's trying to start the bike, if you like. So airbox on, filter on, see if we get any more, any better news. Go for a bit of choke actually. Oh, I had choke on. part two. Right, I'm just going to check those air fuel screws. For the life of me, can't remember what they're set at. Okay, so air fuel screws done, nice and simple on this bike because they're on the top, so it's just blah. So from the book it's 2.5, if I remember correctly. I did have a quick look last night. They were kind of all over the place, frankly, so they're all set at 2.5 now, so they're all a lot, they're all closer. So let's try no starter fluid, whatever. It's still reasonably, well, still too warm to touch. Don't have a lot of faith in my fuel bottle. I'm going to have to get another one. I think it's only dripping fuel, not dropping fuel. Fuck it. It's still on original jetting, if I remember correctly. The idle's a little high, but that's as good as it's been. Right, I think that's dying out because it's not getting enough fuel through that pot because it drips through really slowly. So I think it's eating its fuel quicker than it's replenishing it. Is my thinking. The tank over there. Might give it a go. Fuck it. Why not? It's Sunday. What could possibly go wrong? And just to try and prove a point a little bit, here's my secondary tank. That's off. That's on. I think there might be a problem with that. That's on as well. Right, let's see if this tank works. Chuck some fuel in it. I'm not even sure it holds fuel, but we'll see. That's from the fuel tap. That's why I hated this bike. That's not spitting out any fuel, no wonder it's not starting. I thought I had that on. That's what I was trying to do. And initially thought I had it on vacuum, but I don't think that vacuum's working. And that explains why it was running and then it didn't, because it used all the fuel in it. Right, I have bodged my fuel bottle. At least I now know it's fuel coming out of it, which is a start. I've still got that. It's still loose, I think it is. I had to undo one of the airbox seals to get when I was messing around with the pipe, and I've just realised I've not done it back up. Now, I left this bike hating it, and I'm there already. I'm in that mood where I keep putting things down. I'm forgetting where the fuck I put them. Nearly through that then. That would be bad tempered of me. Quite a lot of accelerant in that when I was trying to start it, so it's going to run. Okay, so there we have it. Mick is somewhat alive. Now obviously now the XJ650 is a air-cooled bike, and frankly just having it sat and running with no air brushing around it is probably not going to do it any good at all. But that's the least of its problems at the moment. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I think he's worth the effort of trying to get going again. I did originally want to take the airbox out and yada 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 yada. I probably still could, but frankly I've got the box and it works, so I might try and use it, which does mean that I can fill in that side section and just make some panels for it, because I don't think there's any fixings for panels. I can't even remember if it ever had any. I don't think it did. Which I can't remember. I certainly don't have them anymore if they did have them. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to go back and look. I really am going to have to go back and look, because I can't remember what I've done and what other people have done to this bike. Yeah, I think I might try and keep it relatively simple, because it's complicated. Is it complicated or complex? It's annoying enough as it is, let's put it that way. So I think I'll find a way of boxing the regulator, rectifier, ECI, etc, etc, or the igniter onto the gap. If I remember correctly, it was just screwed into the airbox at one point or another. I do have my seat, my first ever fiberglassing, as a cover. Now the problem I've got for seats is the hump. The hoop is not quite so much of an issue. That uptick at the back is a bit of an issue, because it's a profile that they don't often have. But I'll have a think. I think what I'm going to do next is sort out something for in there, for that infill section. There is a pseudo fuse box there that's been a bit botched and hatched, but yeah, I have to grab another, work out some sort of panel to get that all attached to and tucked away so it's not dangling as much as anything else. Work out a way to mount the battery in there as well, which isn't quite so much of a problem. Yeah, I think we can make this work. So I think next one is piss around with the wiring a bit, not finessing, but see whether or not I can get that stashed somewhere a little bit more sensible. Even if it's just a, I mean, my initial thought was, and I made a sheet up and went to mount it on the bottom of there. And the issue with that is, that means you've got no access to the airbox, because that was when it was going to have pod filters, so you could do things like put quick start or accelerant or whatever on the back of the pod's easy. But if the box is there and I think it's going to run better on the box than the pods, then I need the option of doing something different to get to that. Oh, I'll have a think. Right, chisel. Oh no, that's what I was going to show you. I have taken the box off. I've forgotten his name. Ivan. Ivor the engine. I have whipped the box off the back. Gone for a more summer look. I did have that bag that I got from before that I didn't like, but it works. It means I can keep them waterproof for April showers as much as anything else, but that'll do. Right, cool. Cheers all. I'll catch you later on. Ta-da.